happening? What's going on? What's shaking? This is Andy coming to you again from here at my Daily Funk Club headquarters, and right on. It's Wednesday, middle of the week. Got a gig tonight. I'm pretty stoked. It's been a beautiful summer so far here in Colorado. I just had a visit from my dear friend Carrie Nordstrand for the last couple of days, and yeah, summer's going along great. I'm gonna share a few things with you in this video about the instrument that I'm playing right now. This is one of my ghost bass instruments, which really stems from my interest in learning how to build basses. I've always loved and adored bass guitars. First bass I ever got, I disassembled immediately and then tried to put back together. Of course, I completely screwed it up, but I was always interested in the mechanics of how the instrument actually works. And over the years, you know, I've learned how to set up all of my own basses. I never really have used a tech. I've never been in a band where I had a tech or anything like that. I had to take care of my own basses on the road. So I just learned how to do it myself. So I wasn't reliant on anybody else to make sure that my instruments play the way that I need them to play. And, you know, along my path, I ended up working for Warwick for just about 5 years, and I learned so much from those guys over there in Germany. And yeah, just, you know, a couple years ago I started putting together, assembling instruments, and here at the Daily Funk Club I've been fortunate to become affiliated with a lot of different brands. And like the instrument that I'm holding, everything on this bass was provided by one of the sponsoring brands here. The custom wood parts were provided by Warmoth. I ordered them and they built them for me to specifically what I asked for, which is a flame maple top on a light swamp ash body, cream bound, and flame maple neck, reversed headstock, flame maple fingerboard. The pickups are from Nordstrand Audio. They're the NP4A, which is probably my favorite Nordstrand P style pickup. That one and the power blade. And then the Hipshot, or the bridge and the tuners are provided by Hipshot. This is their kick-ass bridge, and these are the ultralight tuners. Strings are by Black Diamond. I've been endorsing Black Diamond exclusively for 10 years. Strap security system by Locks, which is a great German brand that makes these incredible strap locks, the best I've ever used. And the strap I'm using is from Ergo Straps, Santiago, Chile. So, and my cable is from Tsunami Cables. I've been affiliated with Keith and Tsunami Cables for 2 years now. I don't mention them enough. I should, but I'm always using the Tsunami Cables. He sent me 6 cables 2 years ago, and all 6 of them are still working perfectly. I do about 130 gigs a year, so that's a good testament to the quality and the durability and longevity of the Tsunami Cables. The amp I'm playing through is from Bergantino, also another sponsor here. This is the Forte. And then the cabinet is from Bear Amplification. This is the ML115. So it mid-loaded. It has a coned mid-high driver internally crossed over. It's one of my favorite cabs. So everything that I play is provided by people that support the Daily Funk Club. And it's a really cool and unique situation. It gives me the opportunity to kind of enjoy the process of designing and building some instruments. This one was actually assembled for me by Nino Valenti in New York City, but I've done 9 of these ghost basses so far, and most of them I've put together myself. It's a fantastic sounding instrument. It's got a really punchy sound. Very lightweight instrument. It just speaks with such clarity and such authority. one, Dusty, it's a kind of a nod to one of my bass heroes, Dusty Hill from ZZ Top, obviously. And then I have another one that's actually getting here tomorrow. It will arrive tomorrow. Another one of these 72 Tele kind of designs, but that one, also assembled by Nino in New York City, is Lake Placid blue with a matching reverse headstock, a cream pickguard, and a cream bound. That one has EMG pickups in it and Hipshot hardware. The last two times I took this bass out on a gig, someone from the audience who hears me play all the time, one is my wife and the other is a friend of a band that I play with. They come and hear us play all the time. They hear me playing different instruments. Both of the last two times I took this out on a gig, someone came up to me and said, "That's the best sounding bass I've ever heard you play." So, I mean, these are people that hear me play all the time. So, and these are not like, you know, discerning bass player types. These are just normal folks that come out to hear the band, you know, and they said, "This bass sounds killer in the front of house." So I like when I get that kind of feedback. You know, instruments are a synergy of a lot of different things. And sometimes you just get lucky. The neck marries to the body in a way where the neck would, and talking about bolt-on instruments, where the neck and the body just you know, marry each other in a way where they just really get along good, and that kind of magic synergy happens. And then combination of good, tight, solid hardware and some very nice pickups. All those things go together. And then you could never undervalue the importance of the strings, because they're very, very significant in it all. And the setup, the nut, because a poorly done nut that's too high or too sloppy or too worn out is not going to make the instrument speak to its fullest potential. That's why you can buy an instrument from a imported, let's say a Fender Squier P-Bass or something like that. You could buy one of those, take it to a really good luthier like Mo at the Nordstrand shop, or Nino Valenti, or any number of other guys, and just say, spend 2 hours on this bass and make it happen. If they go through and put a new nut on it and dress out the frets and recrown everything and set it up, that $200 bass will transform into a fantastic playing instrument. You know what I'm saying? So a lot has to do with these inexpensive, in the inexpensive import realm. Having a really good fret dressing and nut cut for it, and setup done on it will just absolutely transform it in ways that will blow your mind. So if your bass is acting badly, don't give up on the bass. You know, if it's out of your wheelhouse of skill set, take it to someone that really knows what they're doing, because a lot of times people reach out to me and ask me questions. I get a lot of questions all the time. In fact, I spend most of my day answering questions around here. And people are frustrated with the tone that they're getting, or the performance that they're getting from their amp. And a lot of times I just ask them a series of really quick preliminary questions, like how thick is the gauge of the strings that you're using? How low is your action? And you know, the common complaint is that they're not getting enough low end, they're not getting enough bottom, the bass sounds clicky or clanky, and it's not, it doesn't sound like James Jamerson like they want it to sound. And the thing I always say to them is, you know, you have to have a little bit of relief in the neck so that the string is up and away from the fretboard, so that it can ring freely, and it can really set up a vibration through the body and through the whole instrument. That's where the low fundamental, and that's where the physics of sound being generated with the string comes from. So you have to have the strings up and away from the fingerboard a little bit. if you're going to have the strings really low and very, very close to the fingerboard and use lighter strings, then you'll have to find another way to compensate, and usually it's done with EQ. I don't like that way. I know that some people are able to find a way that works for them. I simply don't like that. I've never liked that. I've always played with a medium action, not crazy high, and a medium amount of relief and medium gauge strings, 45 to 105, 45 to 125. I have really good results that way, and I set up the bass with no fret buzz, so every note rings clear. All up and down the whole neck, so every note rings true and clear, and the low fundamental really comes out. And that's how I've come to love the type of feel that I love on bass guitars, is with some tension and a little bit of pushback. And because I play against that pushback, that springiness and that pushback is a big part of how I groove, how I find my pocket, and how I groove. It also creates this cool dynamic range, and when I want to play with the softest of brush strokes, everything rings in a really gentle way, in a nice gentle way. And I can caress each note with a little bit of vibrato. That gentle vibrato goes a long way. Something as simple as that in a song, in the context of a song played in a tasteful way where it's supporting the song and it's kind of dancing with the melody. Something as simple as a 4-note melodic kind of turn. Something like that, when it translates into the song, it sounds like the most cool and amazing bass feature section of the song, and all it is 4 notes played in a tasteful way. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that those things are helpful for you, and if you're inclined to start doing a little building of your own, Warmoth is one of the premier wood suppliers that I highly recommend. I have several of their necks and bodies, and they just do a fantastic job in their custom shop. They have everything from very basic kind of plain maple and not highly figured things to highly figured exotic woods that you can choose from to have your parts built from. This one was sprayed amber tint, vintage amber tint at my request there, so you can get them completely plain with no finish on them at all. You can get them with a natural satin on there or a tinted amber. You can get paint jobs done. They offer all of that. And in terms of pickups and electronics, there's a lot of different options. My 3 favorites are EMG, Bartolini, and Nordstrand. And I just prefer the Hipshot hardware. They offer the biggest variety. So not every bass is going to have the same type of tuners on it or the same type of bridge. Sometimes I want a high mass, sometimes I want a metal vintage style. Sometimes I want black, sometimes I want chrome, sometimes I want solid brass, chrome plated. They have all of these different options there. And yeah, they've been really supportive, and the stuff just holds up, you know what I mean? Ultimately, everything comes down to it holding up and doing the job, you know, out there on these gigs. And because the last thing you want is, you know, your tuner to bust, you know, you go to tune it, the head falls off of it, or you know, any number of things. So reliable, quality, premium stuff is always a good way to ensure that the instrument is going to hold up. And it's also a way to improve or upgrade an existing instrument, because typically in the import realm, in the inexpensive bass realm, the areas where they cut corners on are on the pickups, electronics, and hardware. The neck and the body usually are pretty decent enough, but the place where they save money in the producing manufacturing process is by using cheaper hardware and cheaper electronics, cheaper pots, wires, and pickups. So in a lot of cases, if it's a good solid instrument, in general, putting on a good set of tuners and set of pickups oftentimes will transform it. And then that thing that I mentioned before, having somebody who really knows what they're doing do a setup for you. So yeah, this cabinet. Before I go, I want to mention this cabinet and this head. I love this particular rig right here, using the Bergantino Forte head with this bare amplification cabinet. I particularly love this cab because it's internally crossed over in a really musical way, and it, with the 15-inch speaker, you know, 15s have become a little bit less, quite a bit less popular. Although I've always loved 15s. I like the way that the low mid throat that they put out, just in terms of sonic information and the way the ear hears low frequency, and the range that the bass guitar speaks in. The low mids is really where it's heard. That's where it translates, where it gets thrown out into the audience in the best way, and that's what people hear in all the different places around the listening area, and for the player standing on stage. So what I like about the 15 is that it just really kind of gives a nice even flat representation of that low mid information, and it's really punchy and even. So I love this cabinet, and again, the way that it's crossed over with the cone, paper cone mid high driver, it's just absolutely flat, and I love it. And the head is just a really great complement to it. The Bergantino head is just a really great complement to it. I think one of my favorite features on this particular amplifier from Jim Bergantino is the VRC, variable ratio compressor. It the way that it's configured, it sounds really good. It's not like a hard limiter, a squashing kind of scenario. It's very musical, and it just really helps to take off some of the harsh edges and transient stuff, and it really chubs up the cabinet, manages excursion a little bit in the drivers, and just keeps everything operated in a really efficient, kind of calm, cool, and collected way. Any people that damage their equipment, blow their speakers and blow their amps up and stuff like that, I always wonder how that even happens, because you can hear when things are, you should be able to hear when things are being stressed. You know what I mean? You should be able to hear when a speaker is not happy with the information that's going through it. And you know, I can hear that instantly, and I can ease up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I do. Having this variable ratio compressor or some sort of nice musical limiter, my favorite was always the DBX 160 with that over easy thing, because it just really kind of, like I said, it just really kind of chubs up the cabinet and just controls the excursion a little bit, and you know, just rounds off those high transient peaks in the high end information, really smooths everything out. And so these two cabs sound fantastic, or these two components sound fantastic together, the Forte head and the ML115. So thanks for watching this video. It's summertime and I'm doing a fun drive right now, so I would appreciate it if you could donate to the Daily Fun Club to help me keep this thing going and keep this thing growing. I have exceeded a lot of goals for the Daily Fun Club in the first 2 years. I think we have 47 brands now that we're affiliated with, and an amazing community. And I've done my best to be a resource and be available to all you guys. You know, people ask me questions, like I said before, a lot. And there might be a little bit of a misconception that because I have all this gear, I'm somehow, you know, in a place where I don't need any help financially. But the fact of the matter is that I do, because all of this stuff is spoken for. Meaning, you know, it's here, and it has a purpose to show you and to give you the opportunity to see it and hear it in my hands and learn about what the different manufacturers offer. So I'm kind of reliant to take the Daily Fun Club to the next level, and some of the things that I want to do and just sustain where we're at, even in terms of web hosting and my technical staff and graphics people that I'm working with, and the things that I want to do to kind of go to the next phase. I just, you know, it was in my original mission statement that I would do fundraisers a couple times a year, and this is the first one I've done. So I waited a couple years, and now's the time that I think that it would be great if you know, everybody could contribute a little bit to help me keep building this thing, and of course keep doing more and more of the big mega giveaways, because now that these brands have found some trust in what I do and put value on our community, I'm able to go to them and ask them to support more of these giveaways. The more that I can, you know, prove that value that we have as a community to them, the more they'll give to me, which is the more I can give to you. So far it's working pretty good. But there's some things that I want to do in terms of doing more giveaways more frequently, and setting it up in a way that there's like a lot of small giveaways constantly happening instead of like one big mega giveaway. Maybe throughout the year a couple of times we'll do these big mega bundles in the future, but it's more likely that we'll just do something like a set of pickups or an amp head or a cabinet or 3 sets of strings, and there'll be isolated giveaways that are just like continuously happening. That's where I want to go with it. But in order for me to get there, I need the support from you guys. So if you can, you know, just go to the website, and I'll put a link on the video here. There's a donation box. You can give any amount you want, from $5 to infinity, you know. And yeah, you know, every little bit helps. And by doing so, it reaffirms that what I'm doing has a good purpose, and that I'm being useful, and that I'm being of service to you guys. So thanks for watching this video. Thanks for watching all the videos. And thanks for supporting the summer fun drive here at the Daily Fun Club. All right, friends, we'll see you next time. Peace.